Hello guys, let's get this video playing. Welcome to the stream here today. Now if it's too noisy in the background, please let me know guys. I've got my air conditioner on because it's so hot here in the UK. So I've got my air conditioner on. If it's too loud or if it's annoying in the background, let me know and I'll turn it off and we'll just do a shorter stream. So please do let me know if anything like that is happening. For those of you wondering what it's called, the MBG podcast, it's Major Ben Gaming Podcast, as it says on the on the screen, as you can see at the top. So I'd like to welcome you all back. We were supposed to be having George_T, who's on Discord, joining me. We agreed this last week, and he has started not replying to messages since yesterday for absolutely no reason, and not, I guess, becoming part of the podcast today, which is really unfortunate. Obviously, if he joins, he's more than welcome to come and join. That's absolutely fine. Hopefully he does, or hopefully get some people joining from the stream. Obviously you guys can join the Discord if you want to discuss next gen stuff. If not, I'm going to just talk anyway. I've got some new stuff I want to go over that I'm interested in. We got some Xbox news, which is absolutely fantastic. We've got Cyberpunk 2077 plans, a new game that's launching, which is like a next-gen launch title, confirmed as well, and it's a free upgrade. And also the price predictions that I wanted to cover as well a little bit, and how it could be a tie between the two consoles here. And also about dashboards, so the home screen on both the Series X and also the PlayStation 5, and whether they're going to be different or not. So there's a few articles I will be reading from, so do bear with me guys. It's all good news to listen to and to find out what's going on. I'm always trying to keep up the latest stuff. I did ask George also to give me some information if anything he wanted to talk about. He hasn't provided anything at all. So if anyone does want to become a panel member, you must DM me on Discord. You can actually chat to me about these topics on the live streams. We may be changing them to Wednesday, but every Wednesday or Thursday when I do these live streams, you guys are more than welcome to join. So let's get into the topics here today, guys. If we get anyone join later, then obviously we'll talk with them, but this is going to be a shorter one today anyway, because, I've got stuff to do before tomorrow, and things are busy, so, and it's very hot. But hopefully someone lets me know in the chat whether it's too loud or too quiet or anything like that, and if the sound's good or if there's too much background noise from the air conditioner, then hopefully someone will let me know, and that'll be very useful. So we're going to go on to the first piece of news here we got today, which is the Xbox boss, Phil Spencer, absolutely excellent guy, has some thoughts and feelings about the PlayStation 5 and in general. So I'm going to read a little bit from the article here. So Phil Spencer says he felt good after seeing the PlayStation 5 reveal show. Xbox head Phil Spencer has said he believes Xbox Series X has an advantage over PlayStation 5 when it comes to launch games and hardware. So guys, all of you saying how Xbox is screwed because of the games, Phil Spencer himself is saying he thinks he has an advantage when it comes to both games and hardware. So not just the hardware. We know the Series X is far more powerful than the PS5. We all know this. If anyone who's doubting at this point is just deluded. An SSD does not make up for graphics power. Full stop. End of story on that. But in terms of games, Phil Spencer seems to believe that the games are an advantage. That's great to hear from Xbox's side. He said, during the Game Lab Live conference on Wednesday, Spencer was asked for his reaction to the recent PS5 reveal event, where Sony debuted next-gen software and unveiled the console's design. Phil Spencer said, I watched the show and thought they did a good job, he responded, adding that he sent Sony Interactive Entertainment President Jim Ryan a note of congratulations for PlayStation's production efforts on the event. So Phil Spencer is he's a troll. He's a legend. He's even told them, he sent an email, a congratulations note to PlayStation for the efforts and launch of the PlayStation 5. He's so confident in his product, the Series X. And it's going to be a good product when the designer is fully confident in it like this, unlike the Xbox One. He said, as a competitor, it's great to have them out there now so we can kind of know what the program is. We see the device, we see the games, he continued. Alright, so just being honest, I felt good after seeing this show. I think the hardware advantages that we have built are going to show up as we're talking more about our games and frame rates and other things. So we know that the CPU is better in the Xbox Series X, which will allow us to have more frame rate. We know the GPU is better, which allows us to have more graphics capabilities, and also it's a non-throttle GPU on top of that. So the Sony GPU is going to have to throttle with thermals, which means potentially they may have to take more away from the CPU to give to that GPU essentially. So the frame rate is going to definitely be lower on multi-platform titles like Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Is going to be lower on the PlayStation side. There's a lot of people on the Sony fanboy side saying, when the Xbox released Valhalla at 30 FPS, all the Sony fanboys were like, "Oh, yeah, see, you guys are only running at 30 FPS," and it's just like, well, what do you think yours is going to run at? If the Xbox Series X is running at 30 FPS, how many downgrades are they going to give your system on the PS5 to even match 30 FPS? Like, it's insane. So he said also, I thought the games lineup that we're going to have at launch I felt really good about, and we got more clarity on what they're doing at their show, which just helps us focus in on more of what we have, and I think that will be a strength for us at launch. So I thought they did a good job. I thought they do what they do very well, and they did that. But when I think about the position that we're in with the games that we're going to be able to show and how they're going to show up and the hardware advantages that we have, I think we're in a very good position. So this is all the things Phil Spencer is saying. He's even saying about hardware, which is just really, really good to see that coming from Phil Spencer. Games as well. Is really, really good. So I'm going to read more of this article. Ahead of the Series X first-party games showcase in July, Spencer reiterated that Microsoft has taken on board criticism of its next-gen software reveal event in May, which focuses on third-party titles and left some viewers underwhelmed. So a lot of people were very disappointed with this Xbox event. Then Phil Spencer's commented on that, saying, "So I feel good about the July and the gameplay we're going to be showing there and the hardware capability," he said. So they've learned their lessons from this non-gameplay event that they did, and in the July they've changed that, and they're going to make sure they show full gameplay, and I guarantee it's going to be much more like the Sony show with much better games and definitely more gameplay shown. Teams are working hard to get it lined up. We've taken feedback from our last event, and I think people are really going to be pleased with what we're going to be showing there. Halo Infinite will be a big part of it, and I think that's obvious. It's obvious that it's an important title for us. So Halo is going to be shown at the July event. That is confirmed by Phil Spencer himself, which is absolutely fantastic. And they've also released a Halo Infinite video teaser, and that was released on Wednesday, so yesterday. And the game is described as a spiritual reboot of Xbox flagship shooter series, which launched originally in 2001. So people are hyped about the Halo game. People undermine Halo and say how it's a terrible franchise and that it's just not anywhere near as good as any of the Sony franchises. Like, I understand the Sony franchises, as you can see on screen, are fantastic. We've got The Last of Us 2 here on screen here today. And yes, they are absolutely fantastic, the Sony franchises, but there are some great ones on Xbox like Halo. Yes, the last Halo game was a disappointment, to say the least, but there's some still good ones, and I've really been enjoying the Gears of War series recently as well. So there are some very good ones. So yeah, anyway, that's what they've said about that for now. Guys, this really is going to be a shorter podcast today. I'm going to keep doing these. I know they don't get many views on my channel, but I'm enjoying making this content. I'm really finding it interesting. I really hoped we'd have another panel member today to talk about stuff. Unfortunately, they've even bailed on us. Which I'm really disappointed in, to be honest. He really seemed into it. I even said, you really don't have to do any of this. It's completely up to you. And he was really down to come along. He was down to look up information, but this is why I just don't rely on other people, because they just disappoint. Cyberpunk 2077 plans for Xbox Series X and PS5 domination breaks cover. So we've got some Cyberpunk news here. Back in late of last year, when the Sony PS5 and Microsoft Xbox Series X had yet to be officially... Why is my Siri coming on? Had yet to be officially unveiled. Cyberpunk 2077 was still months away from its original scheduled release date and had been spoken of as being built from the ground up for the current generation of consoles. So they're saying that the Cyberpunk is fully built for the current gen. Indeed, in an earnings presentation, the makers of the game even went as far as to note that in terms of this next-gen Cyberpunk 2077 release, while we do not have insight into what's around the corner, what's happening with the PlayStation and Xbox, and one may safely assume that at some point we're going to do something with next-gen. So originally, what they're saying in that little section there is originally they were going to not do anything with next-gen. but they had some plans to potentially bring it to next gen, but they weren't guaranteed. Okay, so this game has now been pushed back until... We've got some dodgy things coming up on the screen here. It's not working very well. Yeah, so they've been pushed back till the 19th of November. Now, this ties in with the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 here release date. Okay, so the 19th of November is when this game has been delayed to. And then we're going to read this next part here. So it says... However, in mid-June, the maker of Cyberpunk 2077 confirmed that the game had been delayed again, and this time it was delayed until the 19th of November 2020. And this is where gamers worldwide started to get very excited. That's because the date of November 2019 is November 19, 2020 is exactly 1 day before the date that the Sony PlayStation 5 has been heavily leaked to be launching. So that's pretty huge. I personally think it's a very big coincidence that Cyberpunk just happens to be pushed back to exactly the times around the latest console. Like, it's not even been pushed back from, you know, June to August or something. It's been pushed back a huge amount, and this is the second time, and it's very suspicious. It just happens to be going towards these you know, next gen console launches. It's very, very strange. So it says yeah, so the PlayStation 5 1 day before the date that Sony PlayStation 5 has been heavily leaked. So the PlayStation 5 is potentially launching after, a day after. In addition, the Xbox Series X has an official launch date of Winter Holiday 2020, has been tipped to be launching in late November, with the date of 20th of November reported also, which is the day after the Cyberpunk has been pushed back to, which is very flippin' suspicious. Like, come on, if that's not a clue, like, what is? Like, this, surely this Cyberpunk is going to be either a launch title or close to a launch title at this point. Everything's getting pushed back. And it's really interesting to see that the Cyberpunk is pointing to that. So it says here, all evidence therefore seems to be pointing to Cyberpunk 2077 launching at the same time as both next-gen consoles, and the game being 100% playable on both of them too. Cyberpunk 2077's next-gen launch plan has stepped into the light and now looks very concrete, with the game playable on both current-gen consoles as well as next-gen consoles. Astro Twins, hi, welcome to the stream. Nice to have you along. Thanks for coming to join here today. Yeah, so it seems very, very big coincidence there that this is all happening. After believing we weren't going to get to play Cyberpunk 2077 on the PS5 and Series X around the launch timeframe of those consoles, this is therefore really, really welcome news, and seems to be a I can't read that word. Benefit of CD Projekt Red taking extra time to finish off the game so that it is perfect. So I personally think they want these to be shown. They want these trailers to be shown on next gen. They want all these incredible gameplay shown on next gen consoles, and they really want to show this game off like crazy. So it's awesome that they're doing this. I think it's so much better that they're launching with the next gen. I've always thought, why not bring a big title out like this on next gen and like, I don't know, show us all these next gen things. You know, show off what you've created. You know, you've created this incredible game called Cyberpunk that looks fantastic. Show it off on the best hardware. Don't you know, show it off now on these crappy consoles. You know, wait until these next gen consoles that are absolute beasts to come out. Wait, and then show your game off with these fantastic frame rates, these fantastic graphics on next gen, and then obviously say yes, these will be able to play on current gen consoles. But you want to buy it for the PS5 and Series X because that's where it runs best. That should be their marketing campaign, not we're launching this game on the end of this generation cycle, oh, but they are playable on next gen. Like, it should be the other way around, personally. You want to push these consoles to sell, and Cyberpunk is going to be a huge game. So yeah, there's that part of it. That's really, really interesting. So I'm going to read a little bit more to see what it says. Indeed, only a matter of days ago, it's officially confirmed that Cyberpunk 2077's PS4 version will be playable on PlayStation 5 as soon as the game launches, and the Xbox One version will also be played on the Xbox Series X, as we know, it's got that instant upgrade feature. You buy the disc, you pre-order the game, you put it in the Series X, and it will instantly upgrade the graphics to that specific console. If you then go to your living room where you've got a Xbox One X or Xbox One S, you put the disc in there, it will downgrade the graphics to that system. So that's what's brilliant. It's like people have always been saying, you know, if you upgrade your graphics card, you go from a 2080 Ti to a 3080 Ti. You don't expect to repay for the games again to get a graphics boost. You just crank those settings up to 4K or 5K or whatever it's going to be, ultra, don't you? You know, you don't have to pay again when you buy a new graphics card. So it should be the same on consoles. You buy a more powerful graphic console, you shouldn't have to buy anything or do anything. You should just get the upgraded graphics. Anyway, and that, simply put, is great news for gamers. Ever since Cyberpunk 2077 was announced, gamers over the world have been hoping it would be playable on next-gen consoles, and now, thanks to 2 large delays to the game, it looks like it will be at launch too, which is fantastic, and I can't wait. And I'm going to be playing it, and I'm going to wait. I'm not going to play anything on my Xbox One X. I'm going to straight away wait for the Series X a day or whatever it's going to be, and then as soon as I pick the Series X up, I'm putting the disc in, and I'm going straight into Cyberpunk on next gen. And we're going to be doing it on my channel. We're going to be doing playthroughs and walkthroughs and everything like that, so make sure you look out for it. Furthermore, gamers don't pick up a next-gen console at launch and instead decide to play their game on current-gen consoles will be able to port their game over to next-gen version for free too. When they do pick up the system, it is literally a win-win for gamers. So they're saying that basically you can still play it on the PS4, you can still play it on the old fat VCR X1, it's not a problem. You know, it's just best played on the Series X, which is obvious, and it's going to be better played on the Series X than it is on the PS5. For sure. We all know this, it's just common facts. So, another game. A bit of news, I think it was for the 23rd of June this news came out, so a couple of days ago now. But Marvel Avengers is a next-gen launch title with free upgrades. So, I'm going to read this article to you as well, guys. I know it's been a little bit boring and a little bit different for a podcast. I will answer any questions that people do ask me. I know these podcasts don't get many views, but I enjoy doing them, and I'll continue doing them weekly. So, anyway, when the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X launch this holiday, Marvel's Avengers will be one of the games immediately available to play. Published at Square, they announced on Monday. Marvel's Avenger is scheduled to debut on September 4th on Google Stadia, PlayStation 4, Windows PC, and Xbox One. People who buy the game on the current gen consoles will be able to upgrade to the next gen version, whether from PS4 to PS5 or Xbox One to Xbox Series X, at no additional cost. We're going to see a lot of this coming from developers. It's fantastic. You should not expect to pay for a game twice. This upgrade will apply for both physical and digital copies, at least on PlayStation, said developer Crystal Dynamics. They've specified on PlayStation, which means it's guaranteed on Xbox. You have this fantastic upgrade program on Xbox. It's 100% going to be free to play on the Series X, I can guarantee you. Square Enix also said that players will be able to transfer their current gen save files to next gen consoles so that they can maintain their progress. That's also really huge as well, so that's cool. In addition, the game's multiplayer component will support cross-generation play, but only within console families, so PS4 and PS5 and Xbox One and Xbox Series X. So you won't be playing against PS5 people on your Series X, and you won't be playing against Series X people on your PS5. I don't know why. I find that very strange. I think it's probably best to merge the communities for a game that's not that popular. I mean, Marvel is, you know, it's popular, the film stuff, but the games are not big sellers, I can tell you that now, and I'm surprised they didn't want to merge their, you know, families, to be honest. I think that's a bit strange. I'm just going to take a drink, guys. 2 secs. Alright, so Gary Snethen, Chief Technology Officer at Crystal Dynamics, provided some details in the PlayStation blog post on the enhancements that the PS5 version will offer, along with the expected increase in detail and text resolution and improvement to existing rendering techniques such as ambient occlusion and anisotropic filtering. The PS5 version will feature a variety of new graphics features such as stochastic screen space reflections with contra-aware sharpening, said Snethen or something like that, I don't know. And of course, the PS5's high-speed SSD will allow for nearly instant loading, according to Sneethan. There's Iron Man files through content-rich levels, higher resolution textures, and mesh will stream in instantly, maintaining the highest possible quality all the way to the horizon. So basically, they're saying the SSD is allowing them to use textures from far in the distance, like all the way into the horizon in the distance, and the SSD can, is so fast essentially that it can keep showing all these things. I'm very sure it's going to be the same on Xbox. The Xbox SSD is not weak. People seem to forget that the Xbox even has an SSD, and they seem to be comparing the PS5's, super fast SSD to like a hard drive. It's not. The Xbox SSD is rapid. It's absolutely rapid. It's just that the PS5 has a faster one, but the Xbox has 100 gigabytes of assets it can just stream into the game at one time, so it does make up that a little bit. PS5 players will have the choice of playing Marvel Avengers in an enhanced graphics mode, which aims to achieve the highest image quality possible, presumably with 30 frame rates per second, or high frame rate mode, which targets 60 FPS. Now, on the Series X, potentially, you could be getting even more FPS. Square Enix said it will provide detail on the PC, Stadia, and Xbox Series X features at a later date, so nothing confirmed there, but it's cool that we've got another launch title. There's going to be a lot of games that are, it's a launch title, but it's an old launch title, so it's just going to be something you can play on next gen, which is absolutely fine. We welcome any game that wants to come over to next gen. Obviously, it's the best thing. Now, on to the next bit of news we've got here today. I'm going to get through this really quick, guys. We've had no one talking, but that's how some podcasts are going to be. I'm just going to be reading news articles and going through things. I enjoy it. It fills me in on the latest news and games, and it fills you guys in for any of you who are interested or having fun. So, a final prediction on the price of PS5 and Xbox Series X. Apparently it is a tie. So let's get into it. It's very weird that we are about to get through all of E3 seasons without knowing one piece of key information about the next generation consoles, PS5 and Xbox Series X, when we literally know nothing, we literally know everything else about them at this point. So the only thing we don't know about them is what they're saying is the price at this point, which is absolutely insane. We do normally get some sort of announcement on price at E3, but we're not so far. Okay, they're in a standoff right now, and Xbox is currently in a very good position, I can tell you that right now. But I do not expect that to last much longer. This seems like something that will have to be addressed in the next month or so, despite Sony and Microsoft playing chicken with the other, daring the other party to go first. There have been many predictions about how this is going to go. PS5 will try and repeat the success of PS4's launch at $400, hopefully undercutting the Series X, even if it means losing money. Or Xbox Series X will instead be $400, undercutting PS5 this time, and Microsoft is willing to take a hit to avoid what happened last generation. What you guys have to remember is Microsoft have a much bigger cash pool of money to fall back on. You are talking about Sony that sells consoles well, and not a lot else very well. Maybe some TVs and phones that don't really sell well anymore. Where you've got Microsoft, who has a huge cash pool. They were talking about the entirety of Microsoft. You have Windows PCs, you have phones, you have many things essentially. Microsoft is a much larger company in terms of money than Sony, much larger, so they can afford to actually lose money on the Series X, and they make up with it for things like their Xbox xCloud, not xCloud, well, xCloud is one of them, but also their game service. I can't remember what it's called right now, but they have that as well, so they can afford to actually take a hit and lose money and sell them for a loss essentially, but they make up for it on all the other features that they have, that people will have and buy, because they sell fantastically. The game service on the Xbox is far better and has triple, I think, maybe quadruple, maybe more than the amount of people that there are on the Sony one. It's insane. Anyway, let's keep going. Or both consoles are saying will be stupidly expensive, anywhere from $600 to $800, because they are essentially mini gaming PCs with specs that should in theory make them cost even more at this point. Like, if you think about it, guys, you're talking about in the Xbox anyway, not the PS5, you're talking about in the Xbox a 2080 Super, 2080 graphics card or 2080 Super, we're talking about 8 cores, 16 threads of Zen 2 CPU, we're talking about you know, 16 gigabytes of RAM, SSDs, like these things. If you spec a PC towards that, you'd be looking at $1,000 plus minimum. The graphics card alone is like $500-600. It's insane. At this point, I don't believe any of those. Here's what is likely to be my final prediction about the price of PS5 and Xbox Series X. Don't hold me to this, guys. I'm just reading the news article. For both, right. Two things are clear to me at this point. One is that there is absolutely no way that Sony prices it at $400 this time. I completely agree with that. They are not going to do that. They will not do $400. It's too cheap. It's just too cheap for Sony. They need to price higher. And that's based on comments Sony Interactive CEO Jim Ryan has made about value while not necessarily being the cheapest. That is not a statement that says $400 in any way. And $450 is too awkward, the price point, except maybe the disc-free one. But in any case, my prediction is more than likely that the disc drives PS5 will cost $550 and the digital one costs $500. My personal opinion is similar to that. Or it will be $450 for the discless and $500 for the one with the disc. I do think it's going to be like that. And I think the same on Series X. I think personally Series X is going to be $500 and then $300 for the Lockhart, which is the Series S, the smaller console, maybe without a disc drive and less power. So it says here on the Xbox Series X side, despite my skepticism about the existence of Xbox Lockhart, the lower spec secondary console Microsoft is rumored to be making industry insiders to assure me it's a real thing. So it's a real thing, guys. There's people that I've heard that have seen people, you know, actually been in front of these consoles. Like, people have had take-homes already of the Series S, or the Lockhart, apparently. I do believe it's a thing. If it's not, I'll be surprised. If it's not an actual thing now, it will be a thing at some point. Sony's released 2 versions. They're going to have one cheaper. Lockhart is going to be inevitable. Anyway, so it says, so that if that's true, that also absolutely rules out of an extremely low price for the Series X. That's correct, as it's not going to be $400 already below the PS5 and then have a lock price at, you know, $300. That's not enough. The Series X will have to be $500 and the Lockhart will have to be $300. It can't be Series X $400, Lockhart $200. It doesn't make any sense at all. They are pricing the Series X at a very premium console. If you don't want a premium console, you buy the Series S at $300. You know, this Series X is a expensive console at $500 and is worth it. Even if they price it at $600, I would say it's worth it at this point. It goes on to say, nor do I believe that Sony and Microsoft will release $600 to $800 consoles in the middle of a borderline economic depression in the wake of a global pandemic. That's very true. Sony will also want to avoid $600 due to how badly the PS3 did at this price. Microsoft wants to avoid getting that high for fear of repeating the Xbox One launch if Sony does price at $500. So the final breakdown I can see is disc drive PS5 $550, digital PS5 $500, and Xbox Series X $500. Xbox Lockhart $400. I personally think the Xbox Lockhart will be either $350 maximum, maybe $300. But I also don't think they'll price. If they price the disc drive PS5 at $550 and the Series X at $500, there's no reason to buy a PS5 in my eyes. Even exclusives are coming to PS5 to PC. Sorry, I'm gonna buy a PS5 because I prefer console than PC. But for people who own PCs, there's almost no point buying a PS5. You just buy a Series X and have the PC that you've already got, so you can play the Sony exclusives. But the Series X, if it's actually $50 cheaper than the PS5, and the Series X includes a disc drive at the price, you know, we're talking the Series X, the more powerful console over the digital PS5, and it's the same price, and you get a disc drive on the Series X. It's a clear win for Microsoft. And you also have that cheaper Lockhart console if you do, you know, want to go really cheap. The PS5 doesn't seem to have that option. There's only $500 minimum. But going on to the next article we've got here today. So we're talking about the dashboard of both the PlayStation. This is something that could be important to people. If you want that new feel of a new console with a new dashboard, then you may want to go for PlayStation here. So PS5 dashboard to get 100% overhaul, while Xbox Series X probably won't. Let's read on. So the PS5 has been announced. We've seen the console, the DualSense controller, and similarly Arctic white styling for the new Pulse 3D wireless headset. So far, most gamers, including the What Hi-Fi team, have been pretty excited. but here's some next-gen console news that might surprise some. Despite the PS4's popularity and perfectly adequate dashboard, we said, the interface itself is nice and nippy. I personally do not think so. This is definitely written by a fanboy here. Praise its simple setup under review. The Verge has reported that Sony will be redesigning the entire thing top to bottom for PS5. I personally don't like that much. I like the color scheme of the PS5 one, but I don't really like the PS5 home. I think it's not at all nice and nippy that they've described it at. In fact, I've described it as the complete bloody opposite, is that the PlayStation home dashboard is just so slow. It's so laggy, and it's got worse throughout the generation. The more you have on it, the more it slows down. It's not going to be good, but the SSD in the PS5 will definitely help that. The Xbox dashboard, I actually really like the Xbox dashboard. It started off terrible at the beginning of the Xbox One, but it has been drastically improved. For those of you people who have gone away from Xbox because of a dashboard, come back, because it's very, very much improved now, and it's definitely a lot quicker than Sony's one. Anyway, this information from a LinkedIn thread featuring Sony's VP of UX Designs at PlayStation, Matt McLaurin, who hosted a Q&A session and answers the vast majority of PS5 questions. Okay, yeah, whatever. McLaurin said on LinkedIn that there will be a 100% overhaul of the PS4 UI and some very new concepts and different concepts. While he added that it's more subtle than flashy, he confirms the no pixel is untouched. Senior editor at The Verge, Tom Warren, initially tweeted a very short 14-second preview. Yeah, we've seen the UI is what they showed in the PS5 showcase, where they did all the games and stuff like that. You actually saw part of the, when it said press the PS button on your controller. We actually saw the login, essentially. So the announcements seem in contrast with Microsoft's approach, who is reported by Forbes may not actually change much at all for the upcoming Xbox Series X user interface, despite the less than popular dashboard on the Xbox One S. As I said, people didn't like the Xbox One dashboard. I think it's fine. It could do with an upgrade for sure, but it's much more snappy than the PS5 one. I do prefer it. Under review, we found fault with the intuitive menus on the Xbox One S, although we did note an improved user interface on the Xbox One X. The Redmond-based firm has definitely revealed more Series X specs than Sony thus far, as well as enlisted the high-end news of Bang & Olufsen for a new audio proposition. But these updates seem to be involve minor tweaks, improvement, and upgrades to the UI, make it run more efficiently rather than the full overhaul of Sony. So they're only upgrading a few things on the Xbox UI, which is okay. If it's a few good things, I think that'd be great. That's all they need to do. I actually like the Xbox UI. I think a couple of new updates would be awesome. But other than that, I think it's mostly okay, to be honest. It's just so much smoother than the one that's on the PS4 right now. It's just so much better. I hate the PS4 UI. It just looks like absolute not looks actually. Sorry, it just feels like garbage. It's so slow and it just doesn't seem to run well for me anyway. At least I do struggle with it. But yeah, I'm overall I'm so excited for both next gen consoles. I'm gonna pick up both day one if I can, and money is all good by then. Then I will be picking up both day one, because I'm so excited for both. I can't wait to play both games on the channel, guys. We're gonna have all sorts of games from the medium, from I'm trying to think what Sony games, Ratchet and Clank. Well, I don't even know what else came out. I know there's a lot, guys. Sorry, I feel like there's going to be a lot coming for this, both these next gen, and we're going to be playing all the games on the channel. I still don't know whether you guys want me to stream them or anything like that, but I for sure will be playing them, and I'm very excited. So yeah, anyway, we're probably going to end the stream there today. I know it's only been half an hour, but we covered all the news things. I hoped that George T _T on Discord was going to come along and make things interesting. He did promise he would be there, and he's either extremely late, and we're talking half an hour plus, which isn't enough for an hour podcast. But anyway, we'll probably do the next one on Wednesday next week, because it's just a little bit easier doing them on a Wednesday than a Thursday for me. Often I go to my girlfriend's on a Friday, so I have to get ready Thursday night, which I will be doing this week. So we'll probably move it to Wednesday next week. So thank you so much for those of you who've watched this today. Whether you're watching as a video after, I appreciate everyone who watches it a video. No one's watched it live, which is absolutely fine. It doesn't bother me at all. I enjoy making the content, and it keeps me up to date with all the latest stuff, and I like to know that anyway. So thank you. Really appreciate you guys are legends. Keep it up and keep supporting the channel as much as you can, and I'll see you in the next stream. If not, you will see more Last of Us 2 content on the channel. Thanks so much for watching. Bye bye for now.